I want to share with you a little bit of research that we just completed with one of our local academic institutions. We are very fortunate in Cleveland to have one of the top 10 organizational research universities in the country in our backyard. It's the University of Akron, and specifically their Center for Organizational Research. So because there's been so much written about employee engagement, we actually tasked them with doing a research project for us and creating a white paper. And that white paper was based on the intention of creating an employee engagement survey. But we had to understand first, what is this thing called employee engagement? Because there were so many different definitions of it. And what they told us was employee engagement actually is the distillation of 3 different attributes or dimensions. Number 1, it's the degree of dedication that people have for their work. How dedicated, how committed are they to coming in and doing their best work? How dedicated are they to the organization? Number 2, how absorbed do they get in their work? How many of you have had days where you could not believe by the time lunchtime came around, it was like you barely got there because you were so absorbed in what you were doing? So absorption is a key factor of engagement. And then finally, it's this sense of vigor or this sense of kind of energy towards what you're doing. Now, when they came back to us with this information, I thought, you know what, something about that looks a little bit familiar. I had seen something similar, 3 specific points, but they had come from someplace else. And then I remembered the work done by one of my colleagues who is now in California, Dr. Teresa Wellborn, who was at that time an adjunct professor with the University of Michigan. Now, I had to, is anybody in here familiar with the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry? I kept my distance from Teresa when we first met, but I found out that she was really a very, very intelligent woman. She had done a lot of work herself at the University of Michigan on this very subject. In fact, she had done a 15-year research project involving some 850 companies from the Michigan area. And here's what she said was driving employee engagement. Commitment, that was kind of familiar. Focus and energy. And by the way, she said that she actually called it, she changed it to energy from this sense of urgency. How many of you have ever tried to, you had a very high sense of urgency? Now, words trigger pictures. I'm a really big believer that we kind of paint our own realities with the way we talk to ourselves and other people. When you say sense of urgency, it almost causes like heart palpitations, right? But that's not what she said. She said as it pertains to engagement, what we're looking for is a sense of energy. So what we really have here are, looks like we got that sequencing. I missed a slide here. I don't know how we did that. Anyways, so what we have is a kind of a confluence of those 2 different groups. Our list of 3 and hers were essentially the same thing. So what we're going to do right now